What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I would like to welcome you all to another episode of Wayne's Perspective, where we operate in decency, discipline, integrity, and respect. Before I get started with today's show, I just want to send my thoughts out to the people of Baltimore, Maryland. I'm sure most of you listening has heard about the unfortunate events that took place at the Francis Scott Key Bridge. Real terrifying events. And as the search efforts continue, and as we continue to get more reports about what's going on, I just want to send my thoughts out to the state. I hope everyone is doing okay. I hope it's not. I hope it doesn't turn out to be worse than what we saw. So, real unfortunate, but I hope everything is okay. And lastly, I want to give a shout out to our governor, Glenn Youngkin. I don't see eye to eye with him on much, but I must say it was a good thing that he pretty much pledged the support of Virginia as they not only continue the search efforts, but of course, when it comes to the repair efforts and everything like that. So major props to Governor Youngkin for pledging the support of Virginia. Okay. All right. So today's topic is going to be an interesting one. It's going to be my first show covering politics. And if you haven't checked out my introduction already, please make sure you do so. That not only gives my full overview regarding what my channel is going to be about, but I also talk about what you can expect from me when I talk about politics, as well as en route to my first campaign, which is a few years away. But my introduction pretty much covers that in detail. So I just wanted to throw that out there. And just as a reminder, I am a Democrat, not your typical Democrat. I'm a Democrat and I'm liberal in my thinking. So we can always agree to disagree. So if you like this particular show, we can talk about it. If you dislike it, let me know and we can proceed from there. But I just wanted to let you all know that regarding my thinking, it is liberal. It comes from the perspective of a black man. It comes from a Democrat, So I just wanted to let you know. And like I said, even if we agree to disagree, we can always have a talk without us yelling and fussing and fighting and cussing and calling each other names or just being disrespectful. So we can always have a discussion. Okay. So with that being said, and for this particular video, I'm going to share my screen for the first time. Hopefully, you get to see this. And I do plan to share my screen a lot going forward. So this is going to be the first time that I share my screen. So let me know if it's good or if it needs some improvement. And considering that I'm still new, any feedback is appreciated. So I just wanted to go out, and mention that. Okay. Now, wow. Okay. These two articles right here, I got those last week. I was intending to do this show a couple of days ago, but I was pressed for time. So now I got the time on my hands to do the episode. And this one is going to be something else. So I'll just start by saying the North Carolina Republican Party, bless their hearts. and as I get to both of these articles, which I'm going to read in full, you're going to see why I said bless their hearts. I'm not even coming from a place of being mean and angry or anything like that. I just shake my head and say bless their hearts. So with that, so with that being said, everyone, we're going to get started. So allow me to share my screen and we're going to get started here. Just 1 second. Okay. I hope everyone can see this. All right. So this is courtesy of the Washington Post, which is one of my favorite newspapers on record. Props to them and also credit to Hannah Knowles for the article. So here we go. All right. It says North Carolina GOP nominee compared Planned Parenthood men with saggy pants to KKK. All right. Bless his heart. Okay. Mark Robinson, the Republican in a competitive governor's race, has declared them and others comparable to or worse than the Ku Klux Klan in social media posts. Now, before I proceed, let me start with a couple of stories of my own. Okay. Now, this was back when I was in the 6th grade. I was 11 years old at the time. Now, it was at this point in the 90s when the sagging of the pants was popular for whatever reason. So I remember on this particular day, I attempted to sag my pants. And not only that, but I had khakis on this day. Please don't ask what I was thinking. Like I said, I was 11 years old at the time. And one of my classmates, a cute girl, her name was Katara. She pretty much called called me out on it and pretty much told me, Wayne, you need to pull up your pants because whatever it is you're trying to do, it's not working. So I didn't want the ridicule of her or anyone else. So I went ahead and pulled my pants up and kept it moving. So that was it for the sixth grade. So then we move on to the seventh grade. Now at this point I was 12. And I remember this day like it was yesterday. I was sagging my pants then. Now my math teacher, Mr. Gilliam, he saw me walking in the hallway, and right when I got at the end of the hall, he said, Wayne, pull your pants up. And he was loud with it too. I'm surprised, it didn't catch the attention of anybody else, but he was like, Wayne, pull your pants up. And it was right there. I was done. I mean, you didn't need to tell me a second time. So after that, I never sagged my pants again. And that was it. He didn't have to tell me twice. And plus, I never really understood why it was popular. I mean, we saw it all the time back then. And hell, even in present day 2024, we still see it. And I'm older now. Like I said, I turned 40 on June 25th. And it's like I see it a lot in public, and it's usually with us, the brothers. And I just want to say, man, can you pull your damn pants up? You want to say that so bad, but then after a while, you just let it go because, you know, you're not going to tell a grown man what to do with his clothes, but still at the end of the day, have some decency, man. And really the sagging of the pants, that's something that should have been deaded a long time ago. But here we are, 2024, and we still dealing with it. So I just want to throw that out there. And then another thing I want to add in is I don't see it at my job, because number one, it's a real professional environment. And believe it or not, I believe if there were any men in there walking around with that pants sagging, trust and believe they'll be reprimanded for that. So I just wanted to throw that in there. But anyway, let's get back to Mr. Robinson, and of course he's a brother, probably a brother in name only. But let's get to this article. It should be a good one. Bless his heart. Okay, here we go. Planned Parenthood, men with saggy pants, people who tore down Confederate flags and monuments, the Reverend Al Sharpton. Mark Robinson, the GOP nominee in one of this year's most competitive governor's races, has declared them all comparable to or worse than the Ku Klux Klan and social media posts that have drawn little attention. Imagine that. The posts are part of a long record of comments ranging from provocative to bigoted that are getting more scrutiny as the campaign heats up in North Carolina, and that some Republicans worry will be a liability in a battleground state. Robinson has become one of the year's most polarizing candidates, winning enthusiastic support from the conservative base and disdain from Democrats, of course. Campaigning to become his state's first black governor, he has touted his potential appeal to Democratic leaning minority voters as a rising conservative who, quote unquote, looks like them and offers, quote unquote, common sense solutions to the problems they face. All right. His past comments could complicate that outreach, and they have drawn criticism from other black leaders, and rightfully so. Robinson has criticized the civil rights movement of the 1960s. Oh, God, really? And attacked prominent black people in harsh and offensive terms, calling Michelle Obama, you got to attack the Obamas, right? For instance, a man, so disrespectful, and an angry anti American communist black lady who speaks ghetto and Wookiee. What? Okay, anyway. Okay, let me stop right there. Okay, what I would like to know is what criticisms he has of the civil rights movement of the 1960s. Now, I'm not going to go into this hyperlink right here, but I believe based on what I've read and what I've heard is that he either disagreed with the civil rights movement or he wouldn't mind seeing it repealed or taken away for whatever reason. So right there, you're not going to win the support of any blacks attacking the civil rights movement of the 1960s. And that continues to be a historic and a sensitive spot for most of us, quote unquote us. So you're not going to get anywhere criticizing the civil rights movement. Let me just say that. And then Michelle Obama, Mrs. Obama is still a beloved figure at this point in time, and going after her, especially in these offensive terms, you're not going to get anywhere, sir. But let's continue. Like I said, bless his heart. So Robinson's references to the KKK, a white supremacist group, that has terrorized Black Americans underscore the risk Republicans have taken in nominating him, a longtime factory worker who posted a wide range of insults on Facebook before he became a viral hit on the right with a speech about gun laws in 2018. He was elected lieutenant governor of North Carolina in 2020 and won the gubernatorial primary by landslide this month with former President Donald Trump's endorsement. Yeah, we've seen what that guy's track record is. Excuse me, that guy's track record is when he comes to nominating people, but that's another story. um, at a rally, check this out. At a rally, Trump praised Robinson as "quote unquote" Martin Luther King on steroids. What? I guarantee you, Martin Luther King is turned over his grave, and his children, his still surviving children, if they heard about this, they're probably shaking their heads in shame because Martin Luther King on steroids. Really? You already overpraised people to begin with, but you're going to heap that level of praise on this guy? Whatever, man. Okay. In 2014, Robinson wrote on Facebook that, quote unquote, an ignorant man with a sheet over his face in the country and an ignorant man with his pants hanging off his behind in the city are two sides of the same worthless wooden nickel. And the hashtag that suggested he was talking about people of different races. Ignorance knows no color. Whatever, man. We know what you're saying. In 2016, he likened certain Black people to those enslaved on plantations. A plantation-minded Negro hates a free-thinking Black person worse than any Klansman ever could or ever would. Okay, whatever. The next year, he wrote that he considered the KKK less. Check this out. The next year, he wrote that he considered the KKK less reprehensible than Black gang murderers and Planned Parenthood, a health nonprofit whose services include abortions. The KKK never claimed to love Black folks like many of the murders in Chicago probably do, and the KKK never tried to eradicate the Black race like Planned Parenthood is, he said, putting the KKK third in his ranking of most evil. Other posts took similar aim at Planned Parenthood, or as he called it, Klan Parenthood. Okay, I'm going to touch briefly on abortions and then I'm going to move on because as the elections heat up this year, I'm going to talk more about abortion, but I'm going to keep it brief here. You know, or as Jizza said, keep it half short and twice strong. Okay, now, abortions, I support abortions. I support a woman having the right to choose what she wants to do with her body. Number two. And number three, abortion is not murder. I do consider abortion healthcare. This is not about killing babies. It's not anything having to do with any of that. So, like I said, those are my views on abortion. I support abortion and its rights, as well as the medications for abortion. And currently, they're in the Supreme Court arguing that, or should I say, they did that today. That's another story as well. But like I said, I'm all for a woman and her right to choose what she does with her body. Full stop. Continuing on. A spokesman for Robinson's campaign, Michael Lonergan, said in an email that the Washington Post and other news outlets reporting shows there's one set of rules for white liberals in the press and another for Black conservatives. Okay. Do I want to tackle that now? I guess I could. Okay. I don't see that there's any double standards here because the reasons why conservatives of any color get targeted is because of the things they say. I mean, it's obvious. If you're getting banned from platforms or if you're getting your accounts pulled down, it's because of the things that you say. Okay, we can always talk about freedom of speech, but after a while, you know, when you cross certain lines, you deserve the consequences. It should be like that for conservatives, white or Black, and it should be like that for liberals, white or Black. You know, just watch what you say. I know that that's probably going to fall on deaf ears, but no, there's no set of rules for liberals and conservatives or anything like that. But then again, when it comes to a comment like that, I wouldn't expect none less from those on the opposite side. Moving on. He noted two instances of cartoonists comparing Republicans to the KKK and local news outlets. One of them depicted former Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron, who was Black, grabbing the coattails of a white hooded Trump. Another from 2021 criticized Republican members of the North Carolina Education Board, which includes Robinson, with an illustration of a white hooded elephant. Both cartoons sparked backlash at the time, including from Robinson, who held a news conference denouncing the Education Board's depiction. The opinion editor of the company behind the drawing had defended it as hyperbole and satire. You see, now, if there's a cartoon that's criticizing the Republicans in this way, they throw a hissy fit. But if the Republicans on somebody from the conservative side makes an even worse cartoon, then we're not supposed to say anything, right? Right. We're supposed to just take it in, it's all in good fun, right? Everybody is telling damn jokes these days, right? Okay. Whatever, man. That you would portray a black man just because he's in the GOP as a Klansman, the hypocrisy is mind-numbing, folks, Robinson said next to a big screen displaying the cartoon. He called it vile. A reporter noted at the news conference that Robinson's critics might call him a hypocrite because of his own statements on social media. Damn right. News outlets had not picked up on the KKK posts, but had covered others that featured anti-Semitic tropes, homophobic statements, and an abundance of abrasive language. Of course. That's what they do, right? Continuing on. When I made those posts as a private citizen, I was speaking directly to issues that I'm passionate about, Robinson responded at the time. But as a public servant, I have to put those opinions behind me and do what's right for everyone in North Carolina, and I'm grown enough to do that. The policy dispute behind the cartoon was illustrative of Robinson's approach to race as an elected official. Echoing other conservatives around the country, he has forcefully criticized many anti-racism efforts as misguided, while arguing that Democrats are overly focused on racial identity. Okay, all right. On the North Carolina Education Board, he opposed new social studies standards that eventually passed with the phrase systemic removed from a discussion of racism. Okay. Yeah. Why am I not surprised? Now, okay. On one end, yes, do we as blacks, do we seem to put race in everything? Most of the time, yes. But other times it's justified, and I'll just leave it at that. I may talk about that, in another post, but, I see it, okay? Marcus Bass, whose group Advanced Carolina focuses on engaging black voters in the state, said he would be working to raise awareness about Robinson's past statements and record. He is a culmination of the worst sound bites, the worst sections of bog sites, Bass said. I agree with that. Doug Wilson, a Democratic strategist in North Carolina who is black, predicted that voters will recall as they learn more. Let's hope they do. If you look at the folks we elect, they're pretty mild-mannered, Wilson said. Robinson's critics have sometimes taken his words out of context, fueling his supporters' common refrain that people are out to smear him. Recently, widely shared video clips of Robinson saying he wanted to, quote, go back to the America where women couldn't vote, left out his justification that he admired Republicans in that era who he says fought for real social change and helped expand voting rights. Okay, homeboy. Now, did you hear that? And I've seen those clips. He wants to go back to the America where women couldn't vote. Why? I mean, why? Why would you say something like that? What's the reasoning behind that? It wasn't no damn joke. It clearly wasn't. And that's another thing we have to, I'm going to mention this a little bit more, but we need to stop thinking that people make these comments as jokes. They're not joking, people. That go back to the America where women couldn't vote. That's not a slip of the lip. He meant what the hell he said. Come on now. And he fought for real social change. What real social change were Republicans fighting for back in the 60s? Can somebody tell me that? If anything, they were fighting tooth and nail with us to prevent us from voting and doing other things that people should do, not just black people, but people in general. Come on now. And help expand voting rights. If we look back at the history back in the 1960s, they didn't want black people to vote. Anyway, man, like I said, bless his heart. Um, but the context of many of Robinson's most controversial statements is clear, making some in the GOP queasy, not too damn queasy. North Carolina State Treasurer, a Republican, accused Robinson of spewing hate while running against him in the primary contest. Robinson has occasionally drawn attention on the forums of Stormfront, a, a white supremacist website founded in the 1990s by a KKK leader from Alabama. Imagine the thought. A 2021 thread praised Robinson's comments on LGBTQ people and Jewish people, among others. Asked about the mentions on Stormfront, Robinson's campaign did not directly address them and generally accused the media of treating Black conservatives unfairly. Whatever. Other public figures of various backgrounds have gotten blowback for comparing foes to the KKK. Former GOP presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy, who is Indian American, was criticized for calling a Black Democratic Congresswoman one of the grand wizards of the modern KKK. Yeah, I remember that shit. Excuse my French. Yeah, and I don't think he didn't receive enough blowback for that, you know. But I digress. In 2019, Representative Hakeem Jeffries, Democrat, New York, who is Black, defended his reference to Trump as the Grand Wizard of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue and cited Trump's false claims about Barack Obama's birthplace, as well as his comments about good people on both sides of the infamous white nationalist rally in Charlottesville. Okay, let me stop right there. Okay, I was going to save this for the end of my post, but I'll say it now. I'm currently mentally preparing for a two-part project on Donald Trump. Well, not necessarily a project, but a two-part episode regarding him. Basically what led up to the 2016 election regarding the actions of his supporters, quote unquote, and then his 4 years in office. But I'm gonna do that as a two-part series. I can't wait to get that out. And a part of me wanted to wait until closer to the election to do that, but I'm gonna get that out very soon. Robinson made KKK comparisons in more than a dozen Facebook posts over several years. Some of them refer to Black people. In 2015, Robinson addressed a Facebook post to all those Black folks running around attacking people for carrying flags and ripping flags off houses and trucks, all the people on social media who applaud their foolishness, and apparent reference to Confederate flags. He called them as ignorant as any Klansman and the hashtags counterproductive and ape-like behavior. Wow. He know what he's doing. Another post featured a photo of Sharpton, a liberal Black civil rights leader, next to a picture of a Klan member and said twins. The disrespect. Sharpton predicted in an interview that Black North Carolinians will mobilize against Robinson and said that comparing Sharpton's nonviolent activism on racism and voting rights to the KKK is as politically asinine as one can get. That's true. Decades ago, according to news reports, Sharpton linked some New York politicians to the KKK while advocating for a woman whose rape allegations were eventually rejected by a jury, which concluded they were fabricated. Now, that was not a good look for Sharpton, okay? I heard about that, and I saw a couple of posts on YouTube about that. That was not a good look for Mr. Sharpton. Sharpton noted that the woman was found with the letters KKK on her torso and said, "I was speaking on behalf of someone I believed at the time." All right, so like I said, this guy right here, he's interesting. Just look at him. He's interesting. So it's all on you, North Carolina. Are you gonna elect this guy? And this is another case where just because he's Black doesn't mean he's kinfolk, or as they say, all skin folk ain't kinfolk. But just because he's Black doesn't mean he's for us or what you believe in. This guy's a Republican through and through based on everything that I just read. So I cannot imagine this guy a governor, much less in any political office, even though he was lieutenant governor. But do you know the amount of power this guy will have as the governor of this state? So I know I'm in Virginia, but man, the choice is fairly obvious here. And if history has shown us, Trump does not have the best track record when it comes to people he endorsed for these high positions. And, I'll say this, hopefully the state of North Carolina comes through and does not allow this guy anywhere near the governor's mansion. Full stop. Okay. So, so we got that one. And then let's see. Want to move to the next one. Okay, there we go. Okay. All right. So the next one, we still in North Carolina, people. And this one, you see the headline right there. Props to CNN Politics and Andrew Kaczynski and M. Steck. GOP nominee to run North Carolina public schools call for violence against Democrats, including executing Obama and Biden. Bless her heart. But if you flip that around and say Democrat nominee to run North Carolina public schools call for violence against Republicans, including executing Trump and, let's say, Pence, for example. Fox News and everybody else, their hair will be on fire. Republicans will be in the House and Senate talking about it right now. Nobody will be able to shut up about it, and rightfully so. But you see, the Democrats don't result in things like that. It's always coming from the Republicans. You know, when you can't get your way, resort to violence. Bless their hearts. Look at her. I mean, I know they say you shouldn't judge a book by their cover, but just take a look. I mean, I could be wrong, allegedly, but just look at her. She look like she don't like black people. Look at her. Oh my goodness. Okay. The Republican nominee for superintendent overseeing North Carolina's public schools and its $11 billion budget has a history marked by extreme and controversial comments, including sharing baseless conspiracy theories, what else is new, and frequent calls for the execution of prominent Democrats. Again, what else is new? Michelle Morrow, a conservative activist who last week upset the incumbent superintendent of public instruction in North Carolina's Republican primary, expressed support in 2020 for the televised execution of former President Barack Obama and suggested killing then President-elect Joe Biden. Okay, let's stop there. Question one. What is a televised execution going to do? What is it going to do? Number two, what did President Barack Obama do to you and say to you to make you have such vitriol and hate in your heart? And number three, what did Joe Biden do to you to make you have this hate and vitriol in your heart? What did these people do to you? You want to win that much? Bless their hearts. We'll continue on. In other comments on social media between 2019 and 2021 reviewed by CNN's K-File, Morrow made disturbing suggestions about executing prominent Democrats for treason. They have no idea what treason is, including Minnesota Rep. Ilhan Omar, a frequent target, North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper, former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, Hillary Clinton, Senator Chuck Schumer, and other prominent people such as Anthony Fauci and Bill Gates. Basically, Omar, Cuomo, Clinton, Schumer, and Fauci, frequent targets of the GOP. What else is new? Check this out. I prefer a pay-per-view of him in front of the firing squad, she wrote in a tweet from May 2020, responding to a user sharing a conspiracy theory who suggested sending Obama to prison at Guantanamo Bay. I do not want to waste another dime on supporting his life. We could make some money back from televising his death. You hear this shit? Excuse my French. You hear this? Now, I prefer a pay-per-view of him in front of the firing squad. That ain't no damn joke. So what? So we're going to write that off as her joking? She ain't mean what she said? Give me a break. In another post in May 2020, she responded to a fake Time magazine cover that featured an art of Obama in an electric chair, asking if he should be executed. Death to all traitors, Morrow responded. In yet another comment, Morrow suggested in December 2020, killing Biden, who at that time was president-elect, and has said he would ask Americans to wear a mask for 100 days. Never. We need to follow the Constitution's advice and kill all traitors. # Justice for America, she wrote. I'm going to talk about the pandemic when I get to my Trump post. I can't wait for that one. CNN reached out to Maher and her campaign multiple times, but did not receive a response. Of course, you're not going to receive a response. You know, you try to hold their feet to the fire, they're going to go MIA. They're going to be silent. But they're big and bad when they write this shit. But I digress. Following publication of this story, Maher defended her previous tweets, claiming Obama committed treason. Whatever. Let's see. From activist to candidate. I think I can pretty much skip that. Well, let's see. Well, no. We're gonna read this. We're gonna read this here. From activist to candidate. Last Tuesday, Maher defeated Catherine Truitt, the incumbent North Carolina superintendent of public instruction, in the Republican primary. Maher, a registered nurse and grassroots activist who homeschooled her children, ran on a platform of supporting parental rights and opposing critical race theory. Oh boy, CRT. As superintendent, Maher will oversee the state's public school system and help set educational priorities, manage the school system's budgets, and work with the state's Board of Education to set and implement curriculum standards. Her website lists endorsements by conservative school boards, but remains light on changes she make if elected. Maher has in the past called public schools socialism centers and indoctrination centers. In a campaign speech in February, Maher advocated for a constitutional amendment to abolish the state Board of Education, which sets policies and procedures for public schools in the state. Doing away with the board will put direct control over the state's education agenda under the superintendent and the state legislature, which is currently controlled by Republicans. I'd like to see a constitutional amendment to get rid of the state Board of Education, like most of them do, she said. If the superintendent is elected and works under the legislature, knowing that they're accountable to the legislature to oversee the DPI and to oversee and have impact into the superintendents in the 115 districts, I think we would be so much better off because you don't have all these extra people right in mix. Okay. Maher has espoused a wide range of extreme views on social media in recent years. No surprise. Many of her past extreme comments were made on her now dormant personal Twitter account, which is separate from her campaign account. Maher, okay, this ain't no surprise either. Maher also promoted QAnon slogans and tweeted that the actor Jim Carrey was likely searching for adrenochrome, a reference to a conspiracy theory shared by QAnon believers that celebrities harvest and drink the blood of children to prolong their own lives. Give me 1 second. Media Matters, a left-leaning publication, was first to report the QAnon tweets. Give me 1 second. Altogether, Maher tweeted WWGIWGA, the slogan that stands for Where We Go One, We Go All, and is commonly associated with the QAnon conspiracy more than 7 times in 2020. Central to QAnon lore is the notion of the storm, a belief that there will be a day when thousands will purportedly be arrested, subjected to military tribunals, and face mass executions for their alleged crimes, with Donald Trump leading efforts to dismantle them alongside QAnon patriots. And you'll be surprised at how many people believe that shit. Seriously, you know. But whatever, man. You know, it's sad, but hey. Violent fantasies about executing Democrats. Check this out. Here we go. Maher's post about publicly executing Obama was just one of numerous she has made espousing carrying out violent fantasies against Democrats. On Twitter, the platform now known as X, and on the now defunct conservative Twitter alternative, Parler, Maher used the hashtag death to traitors a combined 12 times, usually in relation to prominent Democrats. Obama did it. Hillary did it. Schiff did it. Comey did it. Yates did it. Holder did it. Clapper did it. Gates did it. Fauci did it. Sound like the beginning of a dumb joke, but okay. Time for hashtag we the people to do it and hashtag drain the swamp. Hashtag no justice, no country. Hashtag death to traitors. Hashtag prosecute them now. Hashtag take back America. At whatever. She wrote in one tweet from May 2020 referring to sedition. In another post, wow, this is a long one. In another post from July 2019, Morrow targeted Minnesota Democratic Representative Ilhan Omar and other Democrats, suggesting their impending death for unspecified treason. Ilhan and her other law-hating Dems must be getting a little nervous. Are they just realizing the punishment for treason is death? Morrow wrote. In a post on Parler, Morrow used the hashtag death to traitors in discussing the Democratic governors of North Carolina and New York, Cooper and Cuomo. Morrow publicized her Parler handle in a tweet, and CNN found the deleted Parler post on the Internet Archive's Wayback Machine. Okay, I can skip the tweet. In other posts, you can check it out there if you like. Yeah, it said communist sympathizer Comrade Cooper has the same plans for NC. Expose them now. Can we see the CCP list? Secretary Pompeo. Okay, blah blah blah. Another post on Parler, Morrow shared posts from other users and a QAnon account about locking up Democrats at Guantanamo Bay in prisons. Morrow's ire also went beyond Democrats, including one post in December 2020 calling for putting Republican Governor Brian Kemp of Georgia in prison after he certified Georgia's results for Joe Biden in that year's presidential election. Okay, you see all this wishing for violence and all of this rhetoric here. Now, just imagine if the situation was in reverse and it was the Democrats doing that, it'll be big. Again, Fox News wouldn't be able to shut up about it. The Republicans in the House and the Senate would not stop talking about it. Trump would have something to say. This lady will have something to say. Everybody will have something to say, to a point where the Democrats will have to come out and apologize. Joe Biden will have to say something. The Democrats' poll numbers will drop even further, and that'll be used against them in an election. Interesting, ain't it? And I'll say this about Brian Kemp again, much like my own governor in Virginia, Youngkin. I don't see eye to eye with Brian Kemp on much, but hey, I tip the hat to him for pretty much not going along with Trump's BS, and I can see why he won his election, in that sense, So, hey, I said, keep doing what you're doing. Don't bow down to these people. It's not worth it. Okay. Let's see. Shared conspiracies and made anti-Muslim comments. In other comments, Morrow repeatedly shared the false claim that Obama was Muslim, called Islam evil, and expressed belief in a conspiracy theory that tens of thousands of Chinese troops were stationed in Canada to invade the United States to help Joe Biden president. What nonsense. Tens of thousands of Chinese soldiers are already in Canada and probably Mexico waiting for orders to invade, she wrote on January 8th, 2021. In another post from September 2019, Morrow said that Barack Obama, referred to as BO, was a puppet for the deep state. There is no deep state. Again, there is no deep state. And the Muslim movement, and suggested he paid the highest penalty for his alleged crimes. Whatever. The deep state globalists and Muslim extremists intent on destroying America place Omar and many others in our government. Okay. BO was a puppet for the deep state. Okay, we can move on from that nonsense. In one post, Morrow said Muslims should be banned from elected office in the United States, and said Rep. Omar, who came to the United States as a refugee, should head back to Somalia. And again, that's that whole nonsense. Go back to where you came from. Okay, whatever. So again, North Carolina, it's all on you. This woman and then Mark Robinson. Does anybody have any legit reasons as to why these two individuals should be in these high positions? If there's any legit reasons, I would like to hear them. Please put them in the comments along with your thoughts about this video. Whether you agree, disagree, if you have something else that you would like me to take a look at, feel free to do so. But outside that, I just wanted to share these articles with you all and read verbatim what I saw here. Is just crazy that these two individuals are up for these high positions, especially the brother with the governor. And I use the term brother loosely, and in my Niles voice, I love him because he's my brother. No, I take that back. What's sad is I love him because he's my brother. And I'll leave it at that. But all in all, these two have no business anywhere in these positions. And hopefully in their elections later this year, they lose in a landslide. Really. So on that note, people, again, I hope you all enjoyed this video. There's going to be more political videos coming up. Like I said, I'm already planning the two-part Donald Trump series that I have. That should be a good one. I'm definitely going to share my screen on that one. I'm going to be doing a lot of reading, and I'm going to have a lot of commentary on that one. That guy, man, you know what's coming. Um, so, like I said, I hope you all enjoyed this. Stay tuned for the next video. I hope everyone will have a great rest of the evening or morning or day whenever you're listening to this. Take care and remember, the power of the mind is valuable.